Beautiful souls, it's Vega here. I'm back with another video, and I will be continuing on the series of the Midheaven. So today we are discussing the Midheaven in Taurus, which is going to be a really fun one because I think Midheaven in Taurus is such an interesting placement, because if you have a midheaven in Taurus, you more than likely have a Leo rising or a Leo ascendant. And that in itself is a very interesting combination to have. When it comes to the midheaven represents your public image. So the midheaven is your 10th house cusp, and it's traditionally ruled by Capricorn. And so all things Capricorn is midheaven and 10th house energy. So that means your status, it means your reputation, it means your legacy, pretty much the print that you leave on this world when you leave this planet. Like, it's like what people remember you as, your legacy. And so the midheaven is very, very important. Really, the midheaven being the highest point in your chart, it is the most easily visible. So next to your ascendant, your rising sign, you know, people tend to see your ascendant as well, but even more so when it comes to, especially if you have a public image or someone who is at the top of their career or seen by a lot of people, your midheaven placement is what people may see before they see your ascendant. So Taurus midheaven. So your midheaven is your 10th house cusp. So that is, like I said, public image, reputation, career, even your social media presence, what you do, the sort of energy, the sort of experience, and how you express that part of your chart. So then we go down to the opposite side of the spectrum, and that is your Imam Coeli, or your IC. So your IC is your 4th house cusp. Is traditionally ruled by Cancer. So all things Cancer: home, heritage, roots, family, the sort of experience that you had growing up, the sort of deep-seated roots that you have. When it comes to having this Taurus midheaven, really, Taurus is the epitome of slow and steady wins the race. And you know, Taurus may not necessarily be slow all the time, but it's a fixed sign. So fixed energy is slow to change, it's slow to move, it's very decisive, but it takes time and energy to get to the point of the decision. And once a clear intention is set and once a clear decision is made, Tauruses can really they're like, but what do you call it? Bullseye. You know, Taurus, it's bullseye right there. Taurus is a straight arrow to wherever they have set their minds to go. So naturally, you have this Venus energy sitting in your midheaven. So Venus is the planet of beauty. It's the planet of love. It's the planet of desire. It's the planet of talents. It's the planet of material possessions. So values, assets, talents, material beauty, anything that brings pleasure. So Taurus midheaven person, you may be someone who's drawn to the arts. You know, you may be someone who's drawn to singing, dancing, art, sculpting, really anything that brings and transforms and brings the beauty out of whatever it is that you're focused on, or you know, wherever your efforts are directed to. It's really to extract the value, extract the beauty, and extract the essence of whatever is pleasurable. So I need a throat chakra stone on. I think I'm struggling right now. Okay, so when it comes to having this Venus energy on your midheaven, Venus loves art. Venus loves beauty, dancing, food, pleasure, luxury. So you may find yourself really drawn to luxury fashion. You may be someone who's very lavish. You may have, Louis Vuitton on, and you may feel like really drawn to wearing like really luxurious Versace, and or you may have begun to create your own luxury brand. So these are definitely luxury brand owners, designers, models. These are definitely singers, dancers, artists of any sort. And when I say art of any sort, like I really mean it. Like you don't have to only be a dancer or a singer or a painter to be considered an artist. You can create beautiful textiles, you can create beautiful architecture, you can be a handyman who really loves to create this beautiful piece of art that's very practical for others to use. Really, when it comes to creativity, when it comes to creating, when it comes to art, anything, it can be considered art, in my opinion. So either way, it's a creative energy. You're creating something. Taurus is also a very driven sign. So Taurus gets kind of a bad rep. Like, I think that all the signs get a bad rep. I think all the signs have like their stereotypes. And the stereotype of Taurus is like, oh, Tauruses are lazy and fat. Honestly, I think that when it comes to Taurus, I believe that Taurus gets that rap because they are very, very comfortable with being comfortable. It doesn't like to be uncomfortable. So certain things are uncomfortable. Exercise is uncomfortable. Eating stuff that you don't want to eat because it's good for you is a little uncomfortable. It doesn't taste good, So Taurus really loves pleasure, really loves to pleasure itself, being the second sign in the zodiac. So we have Aries first. So Aries is like, I am. This is who I am, and this is my body. This is, the world around me. And we move into the Taurus energy, and Taurus is like, I have, this is what I have. I have this Palmer's lotion. I have this, I desire this, like this is what I want. So when you think of a baby who's just discovering the world around them, they're all about the senses. They're all about touch. They're feeling, they're trying to figure out, they're eating, they're tasting food for the first time. They're very, it's all about what you can see, what you can hear, taste, and touch. So Taurus rules over the senses, and so really I think that's where Taurus gets their rep, where it's like, oh, Tauruses love to eat. They love things that taste good. They love to be comfortable. They love soft pillows. They might not want to get out of bed on time because they're very comfortable, and being ruled by the bulls really are they're stable. They're earthy creatures, and they just sit there and they're grounded, and they're like, and that's their entire life. They graze, they eat. That's their entire life. If they have to run from a creature, like in survival, then they have to run. But other than that, you're not going to see a bull just running just to run. Like they just don't do that. So Taurus is a very slow to move sign. Slow moving. You cannot push a Taurus to do shit, okay? You cannot push them. You cannot rush them. You cannot impose whatever ideas you have on them because they are a fixed sign. They are so fixed, they are so steady, and when they set their mind on something, it's like it may take the hand of God to move them. So it's quite admirable. It really is. It's admirable because really when a Taurus has their mind, they may take a little bit longer to discover whatever it is they want to do in life. It may take them some time, but when they finally find their passion, when they finally find what it is that they want to do, they are a straight arrow. They go and go and go until literally like until they go until the job gets done. So Tauruses finish what they start. Like rarely does a Taurus, when they are really passionate about something, when they've really set their mind on something, do they not finish it. So obviously there are other factors at play. If it's something that you weren't sure about to begin with, but like a Taurus is pretty much like an all or nothing sort of sign. So Taurus is like, I want to do this, I desire this, I want to achieve this. This is what's for me, so I'm going to work and work and work diligently and consistently every day until I acquire that thing. And a lot of times having Taurus and Venus on the Midheaven is more than likely you're going to be someone who pursues material wealth. So you're going to be someone who's in pursuit of more comfort, because material possessions, clothes, food, beautiful surroundings, being able to do whatever you want with money is more comfort for you. So you're in pursuit of a very comfortable lifestyle. You don't want to feel like there's something that you can't do. You always want to feel like, you have money at your fingertips. You always have money to spend on beautiful surroundings, beautiful things, so that you can continue to be comfortable and continue to relax in your beautiful world that you've created. So Taurus loves to extract the beauty out of everything. So think of Taurus, even Taurus could be someone who helps make people more beautiful. So you want to find something and make it beautiful, make it pretty. So you can be a hairstylist, you can be a makeup artist, you could be someone who helps people to make themselves more beautiful, even a fitness coach. Taurus is a very, not lazy sign, but Tauruses are very, I think that Taurus comes off as lazy because if they don't have direction, they are pretty much directionless. But any Taurus that I've known, especially any Taurus Midheaven, they are the most driven and not lazy people. Like Taurus people are only lazy when they haven't found a way to create that initiative. So Taurus is definitely not a self-starting sign. Like Taurus needs a kick in the ass to get started, but when they go, they go. So I think Tauruses really do well with the whole entire work paradigm when it comes to waking up, having a 9-to-5 job. I think Tauruses really thrive in those sorts of environments because they are very consistent. Taurus Midheavens, they don't like to be surprised too much. They don't like things getting thrown at them from every single direction. They like to know what their schedule is going to look like. They like to know what, and this has something to do, your Mars placement may affect this. If you have a Gemini Mars, whoever's watching this, I'm talking about you. If you have a Gemini Mars, you may be someone who may be more sporadic in their actions. But at the end of the day, you're more comfortable when it comes to your work life and your career. You're more comfortable with knowing what's going to happen next. You don't want to be in the unknown when it comes to your work situation. So really, Taurus Midheavens may have the tendency to be stuck in sort of a 9-to-5 job, and they may be uncomfortable with it. They may not be happy. It may not bring them pleasure, but it brings them security. And so security is really, really important in this particular part of the chart for them, because coming from an insecure home life, being a Scorpio IC, you come from a very chaotic home life. You know, you may have been without, you may have been without certain necessities. You may have been deceived a lot. You may have been controlled a lot, or you may have not been able to control your environment. And so really, when you have such a chaotic home life and you have a chaotic childhood and you have a very traumatic childhood, really when you come into your career life, you come into your midheaven energy, you really want that to be harmonious. Like, that is 100% like harmony, clarity, calmness, tranquility. Like, that is something that you strive for. You strive for security, you strive for beauty, you strive for elegance, you strive to have a peaceful career life. That doesn't mean necessarily that it'll always be that way, because honestly, Saturn just brings lessons to everybody. Like, everybody got Saturn energy in their midheaven, but really you strive to just have a like your safe space should be like, you want to go to work and say, okay, I have all this crazy stuff going on at home, but I can at least go to work and relax and just focus on work. Like I said before, wherever Taurus is in your chart, wherever it's aspecting, Taurus slows it down. And really, it's like, it just puts everything in slow motion wherever Taurus is. If you have a Taurus midheaven, you more than likely have a Leo ascendant. So really, I feel this sort of, there's this sort of, Leo is a fiery, bold sign. So Leo is like, I want to be successful. I'm regal. I'm successful. I have my shit together. Everyone looks up to me. I'm the sun. I'm fire. I go. Leo loves to go. Not necessarily like Aries, where Aries literally like impatient. I think that Leo loves the social recognition, the social status. Like, Leo's very much into all eyes on me. So even if a Leo rising may be unaware that all eyes are on you, all eyes are on you because you have such a strong magnetic presence. Leo risings I think that Leo rising is like the best rising sign, because that's just a beautiful place to have Leo. The rising sun, a sun sign, and right on the rising sun, it's exalted in your rising sign. And so Leo may be frustrated. I believe this is where I feel like it could be a very frustrating placement, because since Taurus is so slow, it's slow to move, it's slow to develop, you may find that your career life, your whatever it is that you're in pursuit of in your life may be taking longer to happen for you than you really want. And I feel like that's a common thing to happen amongst everyone. Of course, we want things to happen yesterday, but I see that your Taurus midheaven is very slow to develop. Like, it's very much like, you may find that you've been working on something for like 10 years. You may have been developing a certain craft, developing a certain skill for a long time, and you still have yet to reap the fruits of your labor. Where you may look at someone else, you may look at someone with maybe a Gemini midheaven, and they put out one song and they got famous at age 13. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a very, it takes a while for things to develop for you. And I believe that, in my opinion, obviously that's not my placement, so I can't speak from personal experience, but I would think that this would be a very frustrating placement to have, because having this Leo ascendant, this Leo rising, people see you as the person who's already had all of these awards, all of these accomplishments, all of these successes, you know? And so you are someone who really appears to be very accomplished, very like on top of the world. And you may find that this slower energy that sits on your midheaven is something that feels like resistance to you. It feels like there's a resistance between who you are, who you want to be, who people see you to be, and what is actually happening, if that makes sense. And this may feel very frustrating because it's like you feel like, damn, like I'm this person, like I'm that bitch, like this is who I am. But it's like, why are things not happening fast enough? Why are things not happening the way that I want them to? Why are things taking so damn long? Like, I don't know if I'm gonna keep all the cuss words in, because I'm not monetized on this channel. So like, I don't know how they work, but I'm just gonna be myself, okay? So really, like, I could see there being some frustration there. Now, the thing about it is Taurus is Taurus is stubborn as I don't know what. Taurus is a fixed sign, but it's the most, to me, Taurus is the fixed sign of fixed signs, you know. Nobody can push you to do anything. Nobody can push you to take a deal. Nobody can push you to present yourself in a different way. Nobody can say, this is what you should wear. This is what you, like, Taurus Midheaven are very set in their ways. So if you are someone who may dress a particular way, or you present yourself in a particular way, like, there's nobody in this world that can make you change the way that you present yourself to the world, you know. So this is a very powerful placement for people who are in the music industry and people who are in public television. When it comes to people trying to put you somewhere you don't want to be, so when someone's trying to say, hey, this is how you need to present yourself, this is how you should be, like, Taurus Midheaven is like, yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and be me. Like, Taurus does not have an issue with being themselves because they are so themselves. Like, I believe that when it comes to Taurus Midheaven, it's like what you see is what you get. It's a very straightforward energy. It's a very straightforward, like, I'm me. Like, you say what you mean what you say. Like, you really don't do all the talking in circles or speaking in riddles. You're very straight to the point. You're very deliberate. When it comes to Taurus Midheaven, it's a very sexy placement to have. So Taurus is like I said in the beginning of this video, Taurus gets this whole vibe like, oh, they're just fat and they're just lazy, and Taurus is a lazy placement. And the thing about it is like, Taurus is the opposite of Scorpio. So Taurus is gonna have that era of sex. Like, it's sexy, but it's more where it's it's not a controlled sexy. Like, I think Scorpio is like very controlled in their sexiness. It's more of like I'm gonna control sex, you know. I'm sexy, but I'm gonna control the fuck out of it. I'm gonna control how people see it. I'm gonna, you know, whereas Taurus is more of like, sex is sex, and it's nothing more than sex. Like, they don't overcomplicate things. It's like, they're just like, it's sex. You know. So Taurus, being the second sign in the zodiac sign, is all about the senses, all about pleasure, all about touch. So if it brings pleasure, then it just brings pleasure. It's like eating food. Sex is good, food is good, music is beautiful, and that's, you know, there's really no overcomplicating what a Taurus says or does. Like, you don't need to read in between the lines. You don't need to say, well, this is what they really meant. They're very straightforward. Venus is a very magnetic placement. So Venus is beauty. Taurus Midheaven isn't the type of midheaven to go after what doesn't want them. So Taurus is attracted to what is attracted to them. So Tauruses and Venus energy is not the type of energy to desire to be somewhere where they are not fully appreciated, or to be somewhere, or to try to get the validation of others. They're not here to try to get validation from people. Really, they know that if they are not being validated in a particular field that they're in, it's their loss. Especially having this Leo rising, they definitely know that it's other people's loss. And so Venus loves to attract to them. You know, they like to draw things to them rather than running and chasing after things. So you may be someone who is very slow and steady and deliberate in what you pursue, and you allow things to come to you, and you allow opportunities to come to you rather than jumping out and having in full pursuit of whatever it is, you know. So I feel like at the same time, when you do decide that you want to pursue something, you are very much a straight arrow, but it's more of this consistent energy that you put into something every day. So you're diligently working on it. You're diligently learning about it. You have the patience to learn every bit of your craft. You know, you have the patience to learn the ins and outs. You're not someone who's going to be skipping over every step and going from A to Z to B to back to D again. You know, you're going to move deliberately through the alphabet until you reach the end and you finish what you start. So of course, your Mars placement may affect this, you know. So Taurus Midheaven people are so dope. So let's talk about like Beyonce. I think is a Taurus Midheaven. You know, she's just Beyonce. Like, she's amazing. Like, Beyonce has this, like, she can just get work done. She's a hard worker. She's also a manifesting generator, human design type. So I'm just learning about human design. So but I may throw a couple of gems in there. She's a manifesting generator and she gets a lot of her life force energy from that. But when it comes to her midheaven, when it comes to her energy levels, like, she has a lot of energy and she directs it where it's necessary, and she directs her energy in a way that brings her the maximum return on her energy. So another person who has a Taurus Midheaven is Drake. You know, he has a Leo rising and he has a Taurus Midheaven. So Drake is the hardest worker in the game. You know, he works and works and works and works and works. He's also a life path number 4, but that's a different YouTube video for a different day. But at the end of the day, Taurus is a very controlled and deliberate and very grounded and realistic and earthy, and so let's talk about just a regular work environment. So when it comes to your work environment, you may be someone who is very focused on getting the job done. So you may be someone who's a very, very hard worker. You're a very good worker. Or you may be someone who's very lazy. Like, it's really like, you could really be one way or the other. So if it's something that you're passionate about, if you go to work and you're passionate about your work, you feel respected in your environment, then you're someone who's going to go above and beyond to get the job done and to do a really, really good job, and you work diligently every day. So if you're someone that's in an environment where you don't feel respected, you don't really like the work that you're doing, you have already decided that you're not passionate about it, then you may be someone that is there and you're just going to do the bare minimum just to get by. You're going to do the bare minimum just to get your paycheck, but you're not going to go above and beyond for this company because they don't deserve your energy. So I think Taurus is realistic about what deserves their energy and what doesn't, you know. And so especially having this Leo rising, like I keep talking about, this Leo rising is Leo's very realistic about who deserves their energy, who deserves their attention, and who doesn't. So I think that when it comes to having a Venus ruled midheaven, Venus is also rules your self-worth. It rules your values, your self-worth, your talents. And so you have a strong sense of self-worth. So you may be someone who's very driven at work. You may be this bullseye like type of person, and nobody can distract you from your work. Nobody can distract you. Nobody can say, nobody can take your eye off the prize if you have a goal in mind. But when you are someone who's not passionate about your work, you may not give a fuck. You may be the person that's like, I'll get to it when I get to it. You know what I mean? Like, you're very slow. Like, I mean, if that doesn't have to be done right now, why am I going to stress to get it done right now? You may wait until the very last minute. You may wait until you absolutely have to move your ass to get something done. So you could fall on either side of the spectrum, but when it really comes down to it, you have to enjoy your work. So it's very easy for Taurus midheavens to get stuck in this 9-to-5 mentality, where next thing you know, they look up and they're like, well, I wanted to do this one thing, but honestly, like, I was scared. Like, honestly, I was afraid of, the risk. I was afraid of jumping out on a limb. I was afraid of being uncomfortable. I was afraid of not knowing what's going to happen next. So, I chose stability. And next thing you know, you look up and 10 years later, you're still working in the same company that you may not be fully fulfilled by. So you have to be very careful with your need for stability. You have to be very careful with being in pursuit of stability and also being afraid to take risks and being uncomfortable. So 100%, like, Taurus midheaven is such a beautiful placement. It's so awesome to see like this beautiful like energy that's this creative, and it's a beautiful, passionate energy to have. But just be aware of your tendency to become stagnant and be stuck in something that you're not fully happy with because it's comfortable, because it's bringing in a good paycheck. Even if something's bringing in a lot of money, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is your purpose in life, or that is what you came here, your soul came here, what your soul incarnated to come here and do. You have a greater impact than what your comfort and your stability allows. And so really, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And when it comes to pushing the boundaries of your comfort zone, like, that is, I think, where you will really see the most results of your efforts and your labor. So let me make sure I remember everything. Taurus, the energy of Taurus midheaven. If you're a woman and you have a Taurus midheaven, you are very, very, very sexy. You are very like beautiful, elegant, and very earthy. You're like an earthy goddess. Taurus is like the goddess of the forest, and if you're a man, you're also a very, very sexy man, but you may be known for sexy things like men with money, and money is sexy. So people are seduced by money. They're seduced by wealth. They're seduced by the finer things in life, nice cars, because Rick Ross may not be sexy, but he's sexy. You know what I'm saying? Because he's suave, You're going to be known for your money, your elegance, your beauty, your art, your creativity, your values, your talents, and that's lit. Like, I think Taurus midheaven is lit, honestly. So I'm really going off the top of my head with all of these videos. So I want to thank you guys for your patience. I'm not necessarily the most organized when it comes to the way that I organize my videos. It may be all over the place, but really, if you have time and you have patience and you like to sit down and just listen to someone talk, that I'm your girl. Like, just put on my video and eat some food and do some chores, think of it as a podcast, So I would like to make sure that I didn't forget anything. I don't see an issue with, I don't necessarily see a whole lot of issues in the workplace. I think that when it comes to having, and this is almost like a Leo rising video too, so I'm gonna do a separate series for rising signs. But when it comes to having a Taurus midheaven and then also having this Leo rising as well, which I should have talked about Aquarius rising in my last video, but I'm gonna just keep moving forward with all these videos. But you are someone, you may be like pointed or singled out, you know, you may be someone who's has such a strong presence that people are pointing you out. They're picking on you specifically. Like there could be, everybody in the room could be doing the wrong thing. So let's say everybody is taking their lunch 5 minutes early. The boss may walk in the room and be like, you are taking your lunch 5 minutes early, you know, and there's a whole room full of people, but you're the one that's getting singled out. You know, you're the one that people are taking notice of. You're the one that people are envying. They're jealous, they're intimidated, they're mad, you know, especially if you're a man and you have a Leo rising, like you are definitely someone that people, other men are intimidated by, or they're envious of. You know, they may be, the other men may either try to be really nice to you, they may try to kiss up to you, or they may be scared of you, like, you know. So really having this Leo rising, people respect you. They have a lot of respect for you. They also have a lot of envy for you, and they may just feel intimidated by you. So they may randomly want to pick a fight with you because it's like their ego is like, this man is, you know, acting like, not even acting like, you're not acting like you're better than anyone, but you have this presence that you're better than them. That makes sense. Like, does that make sense? Like you have a presence like, I'm better. Not that you think you're better, but people think that you think that you're better. So then they are responding to the fact that they think that you think they're better than, you're better than them. So they may pick a fight with you out of ego. You may accidentally, without even knowing it, step on people's egos just by your mere presence threatens people's egos. And so they may have a problem with you. They may have a problem with you and they don't even know why, and you don't even really know why, you know? So it could be out of jealousy, out of envy, but especially if you're a man, and especially depending on your size. Okay, I don't want to put my boyfriend's information out there, but he's a Leo rising. And he's like 6'4". So this just, it happens. So just be careful with how people respond to you, but you're not the least bit threatened by anybody. You're not the least bit threatened. And your Taurus midheaven, you're very, like I said, you're very patient, you're very steady in your work. And that's all I'm going to say, okay? So I will be going into so I'm really just going to be going into whatever I feel inspired by at this moment. So yeah, so thank you for tuning in. Till next time.